Akame.
Sharingan.
Hey, what is up everybody, Akame here, and here today I have something interesting to give you guys as a tale. Now, this tale is actually the truth, so it's not necessarily a tale, but it's a story that could be very amusing if you want to know what I'm like in the community itself, alright? And I'm not talking about necessarily gameplay, but as a matter of fact, more of the gameplay's results, alright? Now, what I mean is, when I fight people in the community, regardless if it's a pro player, but most likely on those who are new to the game, or those who know the game but can't evolve further, reaction towards when I fight them, alright? Now, personally, this is more towards the students that I've trained in the community to enhance themselves. Now, let's go back a bit. I'm the kind of person who, when I train you, it's going to be the hard way, okay? I'm going to be the kind of person who's gonna maliciously attack you. I'm going to think of multiple ways in a basic format on how I could defeat you. Now, necessarily, I'm training you, okay? Now, at the same time, I want those who I'm training to think of me as their competition. I want them to feel like I can't be the person who's gonna constantly be there for you. I need you to take care of yourself in the community eventually after I go through a retirement stage and I'm just done with the game. Now, necessarily, I guess you could say I found my successor, but it's a little soon to just think of this one person as my successor, even though that's what it most likely is going to be, this one person, but I could be wrong. For all I know, the other people that I trained could have further potential that could eventually surpass his, so I don't know eventually who is going to be my successor. But this is not what we're really going to be talking about. What I'm here to really talk about here is my reputation in the Storm community when it comes to me beating somebody up in a game, okay? Now, say if it's a rank match, okay, and I'm beating people, I will get either hate mail or I'm gonna get messages from a person saying I'm deleting the Storm game, and I'm like, hey man, it's your call. I was just doing what I thought I was doing right in the game, and I was adapting, I was doing what I had to do. And I'm looking at another message would probably say, people like you are the reason why I quit this game, and I'm like, you can't really blame me if you're not allowing yourself to be open-minded to make yourself grow even further beyond what you currently can do now. Now, I'm thinking of this as a way of psychology, okay? Even though Naruto isn't really psychology related, it's more muscle memory and what you know and predicting, but let alone predicting is a form of psychology because you're trying to think of your opponent and what your opponent might be doing as a way of foreshadowing what might happen. Now, I'm thinking of all these people who didn't do that as you did. Nothing really impressive. You kind of gave me that win, I guess. I can't be like, oh, well, you're just a scrub in the game. I'm not gonna say, oh, this person's a scrub, oh, this person's a noob. Personally, I see it as an inexperienced person who needs a little bit of training to get him or her up to where they need to be. Now, in the reputation of which I'm speaking of, I see this as a way of, like, trying to figure out why the community is kind of negative. Now, when I see the negativity, I see a lot of people who are over arrogant with themselves. I see people's egos rise up for no reason. I see people threatening other people, such as hacking their accounts. And I'm thinking, like, well, in a whole, the Storm community really isn't healthy. It's only healthy if it's people who are actually experienced. Me, Yamanaka's, Dark Mask, Kiramaki, all those people, Neomaki, all them. their experienced people and don't really get much negativity because they get the most respect. Now, I see people who message me, and when I beat them, I'm a very generous person. I'm not like all the other Storm characters. Now, I'm looking at this defeat, and I don't use Share Factory on my PS4, but I have a very good visual memory as to what has happened. So when I message this person, I'd be like, hey, do you want me to help you in certain things? And they would give me this negativity feedback like, no, it's people like you are the reason why I give up on this game. I'm looking at this like, well, to be fair, now this is all in my mind, alright? I'm thinking to myself, well, you don't know frustration until you play Tekken 7, okay? You don't know the frustration between a real game versus a simple game, alright? Now what I mean is, Tekken 7 is technically a definition of a real fighting game. It takes a lot more than just one button to do a certain input to do another combo. In Naruto, all you gotta do is circle, 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 or whatever your input is for the action button. And if you want to do an infinite, you just simply move and press X, or whatever your input is or what you're most comfortable with. And you just do the same shit over again and just simply wait for that person to waste all of their subs so you go all out. Now, that's a simple mechanic. However, in Tekken, if you mess up your combo, it's not gonna be fun, okay? Now, I had an experience in Tekken where I'm doing all my combos accurately until my adrenaline came in and it ruined my whole flow. I went from side circle to up circle to down X to triangle side to X side. I'm like, oh my god, I want to punch this TV. So anyways, what I'm trying to get at here is that people in the community who play Naruto as a whole shouldn't have to really over-exaggerate with the whole I'm quitting the community. If somebody's really offering you the assistance needed to help you improve and make you a better shinobi in the game, I'd go for it. I would totally go for it. Just because people on rank get beaten by me and are like, F you, or get the fuck out, or they're just gonna kick you, I would message them and be like, hey man, it's not my fault that I'm experienced in the game. If you want, I could give you that same kind of experience. I can tell you what you need to do. However, the downside is after I tell you, you gotta figure it out. And that's all really. I mean, you can't really hate the person because they beat you. As a matter of fact, I have a friend named something Bosch, and I don't remember his full name, but I was recently fighting him today, and what this person in the party was telling him is, listen man, when you take a loss, don't take it to heart. As a matter of fact, save the clip of the video, observe it, and think of it as your guide, alright? Learn from your mistakes from what you did, and know what your opponent does, and find their weaknesses in what they did in that video, and use that to your advantage. Now, personally, I agreed with the person. I told the person, yeah, he's right, you should definitely do that. It's like a guide. It's like reading a book. You're seeing what the person did. You're not just physically seeing it, you're visually actually understanding what that person did, and when you practice the combos and know what you're doing with those combos, it eventually becomes muscle memory. Now, I don't really hate the Storm community for what they try to approach other people as, because there's a lot of misunderstanding, and I'm one of the few people who try to avoid that misunderstanding, because then it does turn into a negative. But as for the reputation, I don't see why people actually try to quit the Storm community when I know that there's definitely potential within them, or especially if it's my students. And one of them actually did quit on me today, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. That's unusual. I'm not gonna say what the whole beatdown score was, but all I can say is I didn't hear anything. He left the party, and then he left the session. I'm like, okay, somebody needs a nap. Somebody needs a nap. And I don't feel bad about what I do, okay? It's just a matter of if they accept that way of teaching. And if they don't, they can be straight up with it, and then they could just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna be gone now. But, yeah, anyways, guys, this is it for the video. I mean, I still don't understand the Star community as a whole. It's still pretty funny to see other people talk booty to each other or when they're salty. But having to quit the game because somebody beat you is an exaggeration, because there's always going to be people who are going to be better than you eventually. And to be honest, if somebody's better than me, I consider them a friend, because you know why? I learn from them, I fight them. Once when I fight them, I get used to them, and when I get used to the fighting style, it becomes muscle memory. But anyways, guys, this is it for the video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and see you guys next time. And as always, guys, see you guys later.
Fear the fire.